Hey, Creepy, I got some great news. We just got a couple more donations via PayPal, so we can actually eat while in Japan. We won't starve to death.
Well, that's a relief. Speaking of Japan, though, shouldn't we be doing the big crossover event? It is the last week of the month, after all.
Now, the last month of Patreon donations for the trip to Japan already ended, so there's no real way it can help anymore, so there's no more need for crossovers. Besides, we're already in Japan.
What are you talking about, Decker?
I'm saying we've already flown to Japan. Well, one of us did anyway. So there's no more need for any more crossovers, reminding people of the Patreon campaign that can't put any more money towards Japan anyway, considering we're already there.
You're not making sense.
You're expecting Decker to make sense?
I'm standing right here in my house. We haven't even left for Texas yet, much less boarded a plane.
I know that, but by the time this episode goes up, you and I will already be in Japan.
I'm not going to talk to you for at least a week once this episode ends. It's not good for me.
Well, the point is we're already in Japan, so there's no need for us to do a crossover this week.
Decker. You promised we would review Perfect Blue together. Do you need me to remind you of what happens when you break promises with plushy elder gods?
But we're in Japan.
You're standing in Texas!
I'm probably in a soap land somewhere right now.
Just review Perfect Blue already. It will be less confusing than this conversation.
Fine. Give me a minute.
Where are you going?
I have to walk over to my couch. And since I'm in Japan, this could take a while.
Why can't you just have an intro like other internet reviewers?
Oh, World Wide Web. Dear Shado. Yeah, personality the best there, and I really need a glass of water. That was a long fucking jog from Nagoya.
Nice to have you back, Decker.
You were right there with me when I left Japan. Why aren't you exhausted?
Took the space warp.
Also, what the fuck is that on your hand?
Huh? Oh, a friend sent it to me. I thought it looked really cool.
So, why are you wearing it now?
Well, I couldn't slip it past through customs, could I?
Yes, your ever-expanding wardrobe is amazing. Now can we please get to Perfect Blue? Released in Japan in 1997, Perfect Blue was an animated film adaptation of a novel written by Yoshikazu Takeichi. Directed by Satoshi Kon, the film was originally intended as a live-action feature, but shifted to the animation genre because of a sudden drop in funding.
Arguably, the film's shift from live action to animation helped contribute to its popularity in the Western world, since animation was becoming big at the time.
Ah, the good old days of Dragon Ball Z and Devil Hunter Yoko. Ditties.
On both sets of characters, no less. If there's one thing Dragon Ball is still memorable for, it's the man-burbs. Perfect Blue tells the tale of Mima Kirigoe, the lead singer of a Japanese pop idol trio who finds herself being stalked after she breaks away from the group to become an actress.
That's it? I thought this was supposed to be mind-bendingly confusing.
Oh, it will be. Don't worry.
If you say so. So let's take a look at Perfect Blue and see if this anime has titties. Perfect or otherwise.
Enough of that.
There never are. Our story opens with the daring adventures of random chromatic tokusatsu hero group, which turns out to be a live promotional event introducing the setting well, they really don't have much of a name for this place. They just kind of have a stage where people perform stuff.
Just assume it's Tokyo. If the name of a city hasn't been given and it's set in Japan, the logical conclusion is to assume it's in Tokyo.
This is also where Cham is holding a concert amidst rumors that it will be their last. Their performance is observed by, amongst others, Japanese John Merrick, whom becomes livid when several fans heckle the group on stage.
Wouldn't this mean that these guys aren't fans? How come they paid money for tickets to a show they didn't want to see?
Good point. I don't like Justin Bieber, therefore I do not buy Justin Bieber tickets and go to his shows.
Stop lying, Decker. Everyone knows you're a true believer.
As a riot breaks out, Mima interrupts to inform the crowd that she is leaving Cham after today to pursue a career as an actress. The announcement is met with apathy from everyone save for John Merrick, whose face twists with horror.
How can you tell?
It's the little nuances in the animation that give these details away.
Oh, so what does the fact that they were all wearing red panties mean?
It means you're a pervert. We find out that Mima's swan song is in fact the opening credits. On her way home, she receives a random fan note.
Which apparently works like a translocation spell.
Who knows? Maybe Mima has a space warp of her own.
Upon returning home and reading the note, we find it says pretty much the same thing the person said.
ミマの部屋を見るのをいつも楽しみにしています。ミマの部屋にリンク貼りました。何よこれ。
I enjoy rubbing oil all over my body in Mima's room. Because it's naked time in Mima's room.
Okay, maybe you shouldn't let people know you're in Japan. I think there's a high probability that you could be deported.
You're only just now starting to piece this together, Creepy? I figured that out 5 minutes following Decker making the announcement that we were going.
In the spirit of the movie keeping things as understandable and relevant as possible, Mima gets a random call from her mother before a second call interrupts this for some heavy breathing, and then she remembers to take care of the bath before that is also interrupted by a fax which proves that AT&T is getting pretty damn harsh with their policies on dealing with account cancellation. Yeah, but she suddenly grew 15 feet tall, so it can't be all that bad.
Agreed, though the studio is going to need to stock up on Scully boxes for her co-stars from now on.
The next day, Mima is at the set for her first performance in that pinnacle of artistic televised expression, the J-drama. While Mima has anxieties over her one and only line, she nevertheless remembers to ask her friend and manager, Roomie, about the website called Mima's Room.
このミマの部屋ってのもホームページの名前なの。さっぱり？
さっぱり。
Internet? This is 1997. What is this strange exotic thing of which you speak?
Ah, the days when computer use was not as widespread or essential to modern life as it is now.
Imagine how much trouble Roomie would have explaining Facebook and Tumblr to Mima if this were set in today.
You're forgetting, Creepy. This was a much simpler time in which mail was sent to people in physical form. Though spam was a lot harsher to deal with.
Despite having his hand nearly blown off, Tadokoro survives to produce another day. Despite this attack on her life, though, Mima has more significant things to do, like have Roomie introduce her to this magical world of the interwebs so she can follow herself on Mima's Room.
Whoa, hold up just a second there. They bought a Mac just to surf the web. All she needed was a fucking e-machine, and they bought Mima a Mac. Why?
It's Japan.
That's like clearing the ice on a window using diamond jewelry. Talk about tossing pearls before swine.
Mima's first order of business with the internet is to visit the site that she allegedly runs, which happens to have been included in the letter from her fan that loves that site, and what the fuck sense does that make? Why include the URL in a fan letter to an idol who supposedly runs the thing? That's like me getting fan mail for my YouTube channel, which includes links to my Facebook and Twitter. The fuck for?
You asked that question after seeing how her fans behaved at the concert? None of those people struck me as being the cream of Japan's crop.
Finding out the website is run by someone claiming to be her and who knows intimate details about her everyday life, down to the most mundane fact, is somehow incredibly humorous. Up until she figures out it's terrifying and decides to get upset. Still, things are going well enough as, oh my god, what the hell?
たったの3カットですよ。
Oh, it's a fake out. Don't do that to me, movie!
Considering the movies that you've covered before, I'm surprised this would even faze you.
During a meeting, Roomie expresses displeasure over the fact that Mima is pushing her acting career forward instead of singing. After a brief interlude of animeception, we learn that having a mysterious stranger impersonate her online and stalk her every move is actually getting to Mima.
For a second there, I thought she was hopping along on one leg.
That would make for an interesting blog post.
Too bad it's only 1997. Mima would be just a few clicks away from becoming a YouTube video sensation. Despite being terrified, Mima maintains her 9-to-5 actress schedule. This puts all new horror into her life as she finds herself being scripted as the victim of a gang rape.
Well, that's always so comfortable to cover in movie reviews. You know what, let's just skip over that part.
Well, we could, but it's actually integral to the plot.
Of fucking course it is. As such, Mima says she's perfectly fine with going ahead and doing the scene because it's not like it's real. After all, they're animated. Roomie, on the other hand, is emotionally distraught by the decision. Not that Mima is doing much better.
私絶対嫌だからね。
Ah, so she's crazy.
The mystery isn't quite that simple, Decker.
If it were, this movie would have been a lot shorter, and nowhere near as well animated.
No bother, it's time to get to work as Mima does a shoot for the J-drama where she works what the animation studio gave her. And there's legs, and boobs, and... Wait a minute, this isn't that scene, is it?
I'm afraid it is.
Alright, that's enough! We've established that there is a scene of this nature. We don't need to show the whole thing, let's just move on.
Agreed. After the scene in question, Mima returns home to read up on more of her stalker's pretend journal, which has taken a drastic twist. Instead of simply pretending to be Mima, the writer of Mima's Room is now claiming that she is being forced into performing the rape scene.
違うよ、これは私じゃない。当たり前よ、これが本当のミマだもの。
So, as you see, Macs don't get computer viruses, but they do have the occasional problem with psychotic doppelgangers.
What debugging program would you use for that? Norton's Bedlam House?
It doesn't make any sense, Chibi-Thulu. Norton drives you crazy, it doesn't fix that.
Things take a turn for the bizarre when Mima's computer problems leap out of the monitor, jump out the window, skip across the streetlights, and disappear into the night.
So she's crazy.
We told you, Decker. It's not that simple.
This is a very simple concept to grasp. Why is it so difficult for you?
I don't know, maybe because I just watched a woman Peter Pan her way out down the street? She's doing better than her producer in any case, who not only on his way home from work is murdered, but even worse, misses his floor!
You have some very skewered priorities. I know I've mentioned it before, but it bears repeating.
Can't let this bother her for too long because she's got a special shoot with a special photographer whom specializes in getting people especially naked.
Do you really need those censors? YouTube allows nudity now. Female nudity, anyway.
Well, they do today, but they might change their mind tomorrow, and if this video is still there, they might just say, okay, fuck him.
You're popular now, Decker. Popular people don't have to worry about rules on YouTube. It runs on the same principle as high schools. Following the nude photo shoot, Mima has a confrontation with her hallucinogenic pop idol persona. Said persona insists that Mima is a pop idol and not an actress, which does nothing to endure Mima. Mima follows up on this by appearing on stage, an act that greatly pleases Japanese John Merrick.
Ah, so she's crazy. And he's crazy. And he can see the haunted hallucinations chasing Mima.
It's not that simple.
I don't know. Suddenly I feel like Decker might be on the right track with this one. We find out Japanese John Merrick is Mimania, one of Mima's self-proclaimed biggest fans. He and the webmaster of Mima's Room are great friends, so close that the webmaster encourages him to murder the Mima imposter.
So, he's
not just crazy. There's more to it than that. Don't you realize that by now?
I was just gonna say he's being manipulated. Sheesh.
Sure you are, Decker. We believe you.
Not realizing this, Mima goes on with her life, waking up shortly before waking up, to find herself at the studio filming again, before waking up for a third time. Continuing to be perfectly clear and not at all confusing, we see a pizza delivery man stabbing the photographer from earlier to death, which leads to Mima waking up.
Is this a psychological thriller or a documentary on narcolepsy?
Of course, the bloody clothes belonging to the killer pizza boy end up in Mima's closet. Does this mean anything? Does it even lead anywhere?
It'll make sense eventually, Decker.
The only way this movie's gonna make sense is after a psychological evaluation.
あなたは
自分の名前は言える？
Oh, what luck!
すべての犯罪は彼女がもう一人の人格になった時に起こしていた。元の人格高倉陽子は彼女にとってドラマの登場人物に過ぎなくなった。
Oh my god. Suddenly, the whole movie just comes together and makes sense.
Actually, that's part of the J-drama.
No. No, that can't be.
become a bit spinny and confusing follow this, even as the cast and crew congratulate Mima on a job well done. Of course, coming as no surprise by this point, Mima suddenly finds herself alone inside the building with no one other than Japanese John Merrick.
Let me guess. Rape scene?
Rape scene.
Swell.
I don't have a joke for this.
Well, don't look at me.
Creepy, you have to say something! Otherwise, how are we going to fill this incredibly awkward silence?
Song and dance number?
Just show the rape scene.
Hammer to the skull! +1 for girl power. Roomie finds Mima disheveled, but the body of Japanese John Merrick appears to have vanished. Concerned, Roomie takes Mima home so she can recuperate, but not all is as it seems.
いいでしょう。私にぴったり。
Ah, so everyone's crazy. Everyone in Japan, all of them.
No, Decker, it's not that.
Dare tell me that's not that simple.
Actually, it's very simple. Roomie suffers from a deranged form of psychosis and was stalking Mima. Mima, in turn, began to mimic Roomie's mental disorder due to the close tie and amount of time they spent with one another.
It's called folie à deux, or shared psychosis, also known as La Segue Faurette syndrome.
So they're crazy.
Just play the movie.
As this is a climax, fuck logic and physics, therefore being out of their minds is a good enough reason for Roomie to learn how to fly, apparently. This scene is a long, drawn-out chase between Roomie and Mima as Roomie attempts to kill the woman and take her place. Because clearly there is something in the water, and she is capable of doing this.
For someone who spends a lot of their time reviewing horror films, you have a shaky grasp of psychology.
Yeah, well, you have a shaky grasp on my ass.
You mean right now? Thanks?
Never mind! The point is, Roomie's plan goes awry when Mima pulls a Scooby-Doo and removes her wig, leading her to impale herself in pursuit of it. Then she runs off into traffic, but Mima saves her? Or saves the trucker, as Roomie would have made one hell of a dent.
No fat jokes. Stop it!
Roomie wasn't even all that fat. At best, she would be called overweight.
She's Japanese. By those standards, she's huge.
Ignoring Decker from this point onward, the film closes several years afterward. Mima has succeeded in becoming a successful actress and grown stronger and more independent thanks to the ordeal. Roomie has been committed to a mental institution where she is treated for dementia, though there appears to be very little progress.
私は本物だよ。
Great. Well, that was Perfect Blue, and yeah.
It's a good movie, Decker.
I won't deny that, but it certainly needs you to pay attention and give it a chance to really come through. Fortunately, that's not that great a demand, as the movie has this quality about it that really draws you in. I mostly spent my time confused out of my gourd, but nevertheless, I was paying close attention.
Something that we all know, for your Decker, is next to impossible. Decker does make a valid statement here, I will concede. The film throws a lot of details at the viewer, leaving them with the chore of working out what is real and what is false for themselves. The engrossing aspect of the film, combined with the stellar animation, helps with that, however. The voice acting and realistic art come together to create a masterpiece of psychological horror.
Artistically, I loved the way this movie showcased a very real-feeling setting before throwing the bounds off and heading deep into hallucinations. If you pay attention, music isn't really played over just any scene in this film. It only does so when there is a radio on or people are performing. There isn't music just to fill the mood until the madness starts popping up, at which point it helps bring you out of the very real-feeling setting, which works for what I assume they were trying to accomplish.
The themes explored in the film, such as identity, perception, contractual purity, the dark side of fan service and celebritydom, and the struggles of a fledgling actress are shown to great and disturbing effect. Mima is an excellent character, both extremely vulnerable and uncertain at the start of the film. However, the experiences, despite their traumatic nature, help to build her into a more independent and likable character. I give Perfect Blue 5 sentient Macintosh crazy viruses out of 5.
I thoroughly enjoyed watching Perfect Blue, even if I was very confused for the majority of it, but I can't say it's a flawless production. At least that's what I would say, except for the fact that I can't come up with a logical reason for giving it 4 stars. Maybe I'm just too tired from all the work I've been doing while I'm writing this, but Oh well, Perfect Blue comes in at 5 magical psycho doppelgangers out of 5.
I completely agree. For once, Decker, you've managed to rate a film properly.
But still, I just don't know where Roomie learned to fly.
It was in their minds, Decker.
They flew! Flying!
Never mind. Thank you all for watching. I've been...
Hey, don't you start that! Thank you all for watching. I've been Decker Shado. And remember, tip your pizza man generously. Or else.
そういうのに性欲を感じてるんじゃ。
なりたいのよ。
何に